What's going on, everybody? This is John J Gaming on the mic here, coming at you with a brand new episode of the Bluffton Tech Dynasty here on EA College Football 25. We have just 2 games left in the regular season, and while there's been a few times where we've been close, we still have not secured our first win in school history yet. And we're running out of opportunities to do so because, as I've talked about in the beginning of the season, losing all 12 of your games will get you kicked out of a group of 5 conference. So we only have 2 opportunities to avoid that, and this time we will go on the road to take on the Ball State Cardinals. Now, the Ball State Cardinals, they have not won outside of the MAC. They're an okay MAC team, but certainly they are beatable. And I feel like if we can just put together a 4-quarter performance, if we can just not have a kind of collapse that we experienced in the last episode, we could win this game. I feel like we could have won at least a couple of games by now, but that's just the nature of college football. Lady Luck has not been on our side at all, and we're going to look to change that here as we take on the Ball State Cardinals up in Muncie, Indiana. So excited to get into this episode, man, and I hope you guys are ready for some Bluffton Tech football to come your way shortly. If you are, make sure you go ahead and smack that like button, hit that subscribe button as well if you do happen to be brand new to the channel. And without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into this game.
Home of the Ball State Cardinals, and we're looking forward to this matchup, and certainly the fans are showing that they are as well. And while today is the final home game of the season for one team, it is more importantly a celebration, Senior Day, as we'll see a squad from the MAC, a group with a lot to prove here today. Taking on another team from the MAC, the Ball State Cardinals. For EA Sports College Football, I'm Chris Davis, joined here in the room by David Pollock and Jesse Payne.
Alright, boys, so let's go ahead and get this edition of MACtion officially underway, as the Ball State Cardinals will start with the ball. But this is not how we wanted to start this game, at least with our defense, right? You know, giving up those kind of yardage on a second down, you know, you don't like to see it. And then on a 3rd and 9, dude had all day to throw, but we shut it down, though. That's right, this is a no-fly zone out there in the secondary, baby. Let's go, man. That's going to be an INT, and the Bluffton Tech defense is going to be able to go ahead and stand on tall. That is a big play by one of the junior safeties in Nico Solomon. Unfortunately, we weren't able to do anything with the ball once we were able to force that interception, so it wasn't going to take too terribly long, but Ball State does have the ball in their hands again. And now we'll see if we can replicate what we did on that possession earlier in the game. 1st and 10 coming up as Ball State's going to look to throw over the middle, and somehow that tight end is going to hang on to it, but he took quite a shot. But it's going to be 3rd and 7 instead, as Ball State looking to throw over to the left-hand side. He's got an open receiver, and that's a 1st down for the Cardinals. One that will get Ball State into the red zone for the very first time today. As now, 3rd and 9, trying to get to this quarterback desperately, but cannot generate any pressure, even though we had 5 people rushing the quarterback, and it'll eventually lead into a Ball State touchdown, where Buddy just went ahead and did a little bit of a dolphin dive into the end zone there, as Charlie Spiegel will get the scoring started in this game. So we already find ourselves down 7-0 as we're going to get to the end of his first quarter here. However, Will Peoples is going to cook here a little bit towards the end of that first quarter, as Bluffton Tech is going to be able to pick up some good yards there. But it has been a putrid day to start things out offensively. Only averaging 3 yards a play. We simply have to be so much better than that. And hopefully we can do precisely that here in this second quarter, as we are going to be able to at least pick up some good yards there We'll see if we can continue to have that kind of success as we run the read option. DJ Armstrong is able to get some good yards there on the read option, actually. Tough quarterback. That's one thing that I will say positively about DJ Armstrong, is that Buddy does absolutely have that ability to keep upright at all times. He's certainly going to grind for every single yard. For better or worse, you know, sometimes it's not a great idea to do that, but hey, you know, it works out well for him that time around, as we'll try to go and continue our little drive that we have going on here. Is now 3rd and 3 coming up as Armstrong lines up in the gun, trying to get it out to Will Peoples, but Ball State is going to shut that down. And listen, 4th and 5 from the 41-yard line. It's going to be considered a little risky, but listen, it's one of the last games of the season. We're pulling off the stops here to ensure that we win this game, but Scooter Page cannot turn forward up the field. And so the gamble does not work out. Sometimes you'll win a lot in Vegas, but most of the time you end up losing a lot of your money in Vegas. So that's what we found out the hard way on that one. Is now Ball State will take over, and Ball State took over with some reasonably good field position as well. So we might be in a little bit of a trouble, especially if they're getting froze like that down. Good Lord. That was an absolute dot there, as that is going to be yet another touchdown for the Ball State Cardinals. I mean, it was one thing that our defender doesn't make a play on the ball. That sucks, but he dove for that pass, tried desperately to deflect it, and it doesn't work out in our direction at all. So we'll come out here with another drive, another opportunity, and we'll see if we can do something with this particular opportunity placed in front of us. As now we got a 3rd and short coming in our direction, as Armstrong is going to line up in the gun. Is going to hand it off to, looks like, Will Peoples yet again, the freshman tailback, getting plenty of burn in this one, as that will safely take us in the Ball State territory. Has not always led to positive results, though. This is already our 2nd time in Ball State territory, and yet here we are. We have not been able to really do much with that. Let's see if we can change that here as we go back into our no huddle once again. Armstrong making some adjustments as guys are moving around about the field. As now, 1st and 10, Armstrong looking to drop back and just runs into the pressure there. Probably dropped back a little bit too much. And because of that, Armstrong ends up taking a 10-yard sack. And we're now staring down. 2nd and 20. So, 2nd and 20 coming up as we're trying to set up here for this 2nd down. Play clock is running down, and Armstrong has to get rid of it. He's found the man down the field. It's going to be a touchdown. CJ Peaks gets Bluffton Tech right into back in this game. And oh man, did we needed that, because the start of this battle has not been going very well at all. But that could change the whole momentum of this matchup. As a freshman, another freshman that silently made some splash plays for us every once in a while. Not as dynamic as Chris Gentry by any means, but, you know, he's made some splash plays for us. And speaking of splash plays, Ball State just got another one. So, for once, offense isn't completely an issue for us in this game. It's our defense that's been down horrendous thus far. As now, 1st and 10 coming up, looking over the middle of the field, and it's going to be caught for a good gain there. Caden Somenza able to find a soft spot in our zone coverage and make a play because of that. But on the last play before the 2-minute warning, Cardinals are going to look to try to, no, we're going to scramble with the quarterback, as the quarterback is going to be able to get down before taking a big hit from one of our linebackers. They were coming with bad intentions. And so that leads to a new set of downs as the Cardinals will drop back. Looks over the middle of the field and finds the end zone. Another touchdown for Ball State. It's been a difficult campaign here at Bluffton Tech, but that's just the reality of being one of the newer programs in the FBS. Many times, this is what it's like here in year number 1, and we're certainly finding that out as Quinn Magwood was able to find the end zone there. And then, not only do we give up a touchdown in our previous possession, but we do also end up going 3 and out for our next one as well. So now, Ball State has a chance to do a little bit of a double dip before we go into the halftime locker room. I'm on it in zone coverage initially, but there was a parting of the Red Sea, and Simonza is going to take it to a nice gain here. The young freshman quarterback playing pretty well here so far. However, he tried to scramble yet again as somehow he recovers his own fumble. Thought we were going to be able to get to that fumble, but it wasn't in the cards for us. We do at least get a sack to make this 3rd and 19 as they set up the halfback screen, but he is going to be brought down well short of the first down marker, as we will go ahead and try to use one of our timeouts. That way we can make sure that we do have one more chance at the football before we go into the halftime locker room. And sure enough, kick is up, and it will be good. So Ball State is going to get another field goal up on the board. And this is just tough to see because, listen, I mean, I can certainly handle being beaten down. But by a team that's of similar overall, I mean, that's a different story. And that's, been kind of, that's a synopsis of the season, really. It's just not playing up to our level. And we already have a small margin of error, too. That's the problem with this team as it's constructed here in year number 1. So hopefully we can get some impact guys in recruiting moving forward. But DJ Armstrong is going to throw yet another interception. D.D. Snyder is going to get his hands on the ball there. And while it doesn't lead to anything from an offensive standpoint, they're able to turn that into yet another free field goal. So that means that Ball State extends their lead even further. And we're down by 20 at the half. So we're going to try to shake some of the mistakes that we've made in the first half and just trying to keep ourselves composed for the rest of this game, as we're going to try to run with Will Peoples, who gets a nice head of steam across the right-hand side. So that will help Bluffton Tech move the sticks. And we're going to use that to set up a play action, but he's trying to get it out to Scotty McClellan, but he can't hang on to it. Was a little bit of a tighter window, and it showed there with that incompletion. So now, 3rd and 8 coming up as we try to set up the halfback draw. People still stays on his feet and is able to lean forward to pick up the first down. That was a hard-nosed run by our freshman tailback, and he earned every single yard of it. However, 1st and 10, going to look over to Chris Gentry, who was wide butt naked open. They were just more concerned with not getting beat deep, and I think it worked out pretty well for him there. As we'll try to throw again here, this time on 2nd and short. Armstrong looking over to right-hand side. He's going to dump it off to CJ Peaks, who had the touchdown grab earlier today. And now we're in Ball State territory once more. Like, in between the 20s, we're doing fine, but, when we get into those critical plays here in Ball State territory, and that's a classic example there, too. Armstrong throwing yet another interception in this game. We just can't get out of our own lane today. Jordan Coleman, the sophomore safety, able to make a play. As now, Ball State comes back out onto the field, where they will have an opportunity to extend this lead even further. Charlie Spiegel able to get some yards on that particular halfback screen there. Makes this a more manageable 3rd and 4 as they'll look over to the left-hand side, and that was a quick throw. Thought we were going to be able to jar it loose by Xavier Wilson, but we will have no such luck here, though. But we do have a flag on the field, but it's going to be called against our guys. They are going to call this as a neutral zone infraction, as Kobe Garland is going to be able to pick up a few yards there for Ball State because of that. So now, 1st and 5 coming up as the Cardinals will drop back, look over to the left-hand side, and he had a receiver wide, but naked open there, but a rare miss. What has otherwise been a brilliant day for this freshman quarterback, as Spiegel will hand it off up the gut, but he will not pick up the yards necessary to pick up the first down. And with mercy, they do decide to punt the ball back over in our direction. So a little bit of a moral victory there in order to get the stop. But we really need this offense to go to work, though. Got the first down there with Will Peoples. We'll see if we can build off of it, as Armstrong will look around. It's going to try to go deep downfield over to the left-hand side, and it's going to be deflected away. Jamar Harmon was there on the coverage, and frankly, that guy was just jammed the crap out of our receiver on that initial rep. And we tried to do the halfback draw again. It doesn't work. So again, we have to bring our team out, our defense out for this upcoming possession, as that was a tight window trying to control Xavier Wilson with the user. And I didn't think my coverage was all that bad, but they still made us pay for it anyways. So that's going to take us into the final quarter of action here. We're down 27-7. And while it's looking like the typical game script here at Bluffton Tech, trying to see if we can change things up here at least a little bit. As now we got a 3rd and short coming up down in the Muncie, Indiana area. I actually have no idea where I was going with that at all, to be honest with you. But Ball State is continuing a nice methodical drive. They certainly have no interest in giving us any kind of opportunity to try and sliver back into this game, although I've seen crazier things happen before, as Ball State will throw over the middle, and it will unsurprisingly be complete. And that's been a big reason why Ball State has been successful today. 22 for 25 through the air. They have been incredibly efficient, just hasn't made the big mistakes, so to speak, and yet it will lead to yet another touchdown on the ground. Ball State is going to slaughter us even further, as we are going to be down 34-7. And this was a game that I thought we had a legitimate shot of winning. Apparently, our team just never got off the bus today, as we'll see if we can do something about this lead that we're going up against, as Gentry's had a quieter day than what we experienced earlier. Only 5 catches for 38 yards. Not the same kind of production as what we've been used to seeing. But we'll throw over to the left-hand side, trying to get it over to Javion Foreman. But he can't bring that pass down either. So now it's a 3rd and 3. As we're looking through our keys and seeing who could get open. Got a man open there, and well, would you look at that? Looks like Jay Balmer is able to make the catch. That's the backup tight end, and one of your guys is Customs at least able to make a play out there on the field, so at least there's that. But 1st and 10, trying to build off of what we just did, as Peoples is going to get out to the right-hand side, and that will go for a decent gain, a 5-yard gain on this one. Not worried about going too terribly fast. I just want to be able to get points and get those moral victories for our team. So we're now closing in on the 4-minute mark in this one, as Armstrong initially loads up in the 5-wide set, but does bring in Will Peoples to block. As Armstrong looks over the right-hand side, and that's going to be a tough catch by Chris Gentry. Are we finally going to see a penalty against the other team? And yes, it is. We do see that penalty. It's a face mask. And so that's going to be tacking on another 15 yards. But we are going to hand some of those yards back almost right away as we try to run on a 1st and 10. Kramer does get caught with the penalty, and that's going to bring it to a 1st and 20. So now Armstrong going to be looking to pass here yet again. Seeing if we could possibly get some streaks going here. See if we can pull those safeties around. As looks like everyone was covered extremely tightly again. So Armstrong will have to slide down. And actually, credit to Armstrong. He's actually able to pick up the first down there with ease. So now we have a chance to possibly score here. Red zone opportunity. Let's see what our team can do here with this extra chance, as Armstrong had nowhere to go. Did not dive on the ball and just ended up trying to scoop it up. And that's just a freshman mistake right there. Armstrong trying to move around in the pocket, fumbles the ball, and that could do it here. But we do at least get one more chance of the ball here. Might have a chance to try to return this back, as Buford is going to take it upfield, but then he loses the ball too. So our guys having a little bit of fumble-rooski on their hands, and Ball State is going to go ahead and they're going to win big here in their home stadium. 37-7 is going to be your final score, and that means we might be one game away from being kicked out of the MAC completely. This was it. This was our last best chance, I think, to win a game, because that Miami game is going to be more difficult. I think I'm going to know that right off the top of my head, and we play like this. Just come out completely flat in this game. We lost multiple fumbles, multiple interceptions. We again lose the penalty battle here significantly. We just continue to shoot ourselves in the foot, and in a game, with a team like this where the margin of error is so small, we simply can't do that. Now, DJ Armstrong, you know, he had his moments today. 19 for 29, 197. Did throw a touchdown, but did also throw a couple of interceptions as well, which that's a real tough pill to swallow. We also saw Will Peoples have a decent game. He went 10 for 69. We also saw DJ Armstrong pick up a few yards. Granted, he did put the ball on the ground at least once today, but we had a solid game for Will Peoples on the ground, though. We will at least can say that. Chris Gentry led the team in catches and almost led the team in yards today. 6 catches for 48 yards. He continues to be a bright spot in what's been really an awful season for us, to be honest with you. CJ Peaks, though, a freshman, able to find the end zone. 3 catches and 53 yards today. Not too shabby at all. But our leading tackler does end up being Xavier Wilson today. And listen, Xavier Wilson played well up in the box. He ended up with double-digit tackles. Most of those were solo. Porter Winfrey was not too far behind. He had 8 total tackles in this game as well. And we actually had multiple sacks too. Tajay Cole and Jarian Love. So while there was bright spots, I mean, it still doesn't change the fact that we truly did struggle today defensively. It was not a good game for literally anybody, I would say. Offense, defense, special teams, it was all bad. Nico Solomon did have an interception at least, so at least there was that. And then Tajay Coles did force a fumble, but we couldn't even record the fumble. It was a rough day today, and I just felt like we definitely went in the wrong direction after this tough loss. But one thing that's going to be very clear to me is that we are going to have a quality, at least a better football team next season, because we signed yet another free star. George Evanston this time does end up signing on the dotted line. He's going to be verbally committing to us. He's from Medina, Ohio. We also signed the right guard, Jamichael Ruffin from Belleville, Michigan. He's only a 1-star player, but maybe somebody that we could develop into this program if we give him enough time to do so. And on every other front that we had, we're actually looking pretty good here, if we're going to be honest with ourselves, in terms of recruiting. A lot of these other guys that we are going after right now, we actually are in the lead, with the exception of Braden Weatherford, but maybe we can mess around and change that a little bit, put a little bit more time into him. So there it is, our last game of the season. It's already here. We have one last chance to avoid getting kicked out of MAC. It's going to be now or never, but we could maybe play spoiler here, as Miami needs to win this game in order to go to a bowl game. So listen, this season has been a disaster. It's been tough not being able to win a single game this year, but we can play spoiler here in this last game. So even though we're not going to do anything after this final game, maybe we can send these seniors off here on senior day, and maybe, just maybe, that we can come out and play spoiler in the next episode. With that being said, this is John J Gaming on the mic signing off. It was a tough one, but I appreciate the support for your Bluffton Tech Fighting Muskrats, as we are almost finished with year number 1. With that being said, guys, if you enjoyed this video, even though it was a rough one for your boy, make sure you go ahead, smack that like button, hit that subscribe button as well if you do happen to be brand new to the channel. This is John J Gaming on the mic signing off. Hoping you guys are all out there having a good one. Take care, everybody.